Shalom, everybody. This is Dave from Universal Truth and Mankind. I am your host. This is Kabbalah 301. This is a discussion about Genesis chapter 2, verse 25, where we talk about Adam and Ishah. It's translated as Adam and wife, but we do make a distinction of why does it say Adam and Ish versus Ish and Ishah, which is what we take a look at further on. Anyway, we cover about the idea, we pull out in the Hebrew aspects of consciousness and how consciousness is important for the transformation of what's around us, and that we are part of that transformation as at an individual level versus a corporate level. That we are to focus on the individual level so that the corporate level will automatically be corrected and change. You'll catch on to that as you listen to this discussion. So there is a lot of details that are just in the Hebrew that are not brought out in the translation. In fact, we discuss how translations are very lacking, to put it nicely. And it is brought out a little bit. Is this done on purpose or not? I'm not saying it's being done on purpose. Remember, everything that we discuss here, this is a discussion to try to dig things up. We're not necessarily coming to conclusions, but rather we are trying to drive the opportunity for further discussions and for you to ask yourself questions as well. So please, at the end, feel free to share comments, send emails, whatever to us, and we'd love to maybe include them in future programs. Like always, I'm on Rumble and YouTube. Please subscribe to both. My Rumble account is actually starting to really grow. I'm very, very happy about that. And the contents are on both of them. I don't have the same videos on both. So there's a redundancy here. You can go to either one. And please like and share these videos. They're all free. I'm not asking anything from anybody. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the program, the discussion. Shalom, shalom. So the next one in verse 25, it says, the two of them were naked, the man and his wife, yet they felt no shame. So I yeah, I already said my 2 cents on it before about the naked. It means that there's a certain amount of separateness that's taking place that wasn't there before, and we could see evidence of that in a previous verse because they have a mission. Their mission is to transform this realm of reality. And here's also an interesting thing. We also talk about the shame. The word shame is also mentioned there as well. We'll have to hit that. But what's really interesting is that in this particular case, um, now they literally say man and wife. So Ish and Isha is not being mentioned here. And I find that fascinating. It's like, okay, why is Ish and Isha not mentioned here, but rather Adam,
It's interesting because
Isha? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Isha is here. I'm sorry. It's Isha and Adam. So I guess that would mean it's the third level of Adam. I guess. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
the word naked preceding the text begins with the letter ayin again, and
Mhm.
um, it ends with the final mem, which means a particular it pointing like the restoration of mankind to a complete uh, development, both internally and externally, which is why I interpret final mem as being something that's taking place within us, Adam, and it to me speaks of a perfected state of existence that we're moving into based on vision, which is so predominant in both of these verses. Uh, and but I had to eradicate the translations, and some of the translation would fit, to create a story, and some of it seems to be ignoring deeper realities that are being taught and expressed within the letters and the energetic formula of each and every particular word. It's a somewhat radical approach to distance ourselves to it. All due respect to translators, but I I don't know, man. It just some of it seems to create more questions than the reality of what's coming forth within us.
Well, just remember that translation is a interpretation,
Yes.
because interpretation only takes a slice of the pie. It doesn't take the whole pie like the original text,
Yeah.
like you're trying to reconstruct.
Exactly. According to the letters, yeah, and my understanding of them. But
Yeah, it's quite fascinating to see that. And let me see here.
I have felt that consciousness creates form and not the other way around, and that our state of consciousness, based on vision and perception, will actually bring forth that final maturity, Adam, within us.
So
Uh,
we so
it,
we're in the realm of simulation, um, matrix, um, those type of things. And it's up to us to wake up, not be asleep, wake up to a higher conscious level
oh, exactly,
and
exactly.
start transforming start applying our mission to transform this realm by connecting to the realm above us.
You just, oh, there's a small piece, but it fits.
Go, go.
You're asleep. You're walking, sleepwalking. It's
Yeah, I'll
just
let
the
you know.
way it is. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And then snap, you wake up and it's like, no, this isn't the way it is. It can change and I can change it.
Absolutely. Bingo.
When you get tired of hitting yourself in the head with a boomerang, you stop throwing it.
Yeah, yeah.
We always use bang your head against the wall. Well,
That's why I said
you should stop when you go unconscious.
when I read the Zohar, it appears to me that Creator has had a particular vision in mind, and yet apart from us as His tabernacle, that sense of perception will be directing our consciousness into actually being a part of a creative act, which will bring forth the probability always exists in us and in the creator from the very beginning. So it's not as if he's going to do it himself, he's going to do it for us, and he says, you do it, you do it, you embrace the consciousness of the vision, and then begin to direct your energy, and some marvelous things will begin to creatively unfold, because we're
This
basing our, our the material dimension on what we're bringing forth with.
this is what I find so fascinating. I've been working on self, the concept of self. And self is not the egotistical me, myself, and I. That's not the self I'm talking about. You could say capital S, capital E, capital L, capital F.
Yeah,
But self is an echad, a unity between the body, the mind, and the upper soul.
that's it. That's right.
And when those things are connected and all three consciousnesses are working together, and you have a self, whoops, aligned into an echad, into a unity, then you as a self have an amazing power
Exactly. Exactly.
just as a self. But what's also cool about it is it's like you take a jigsaw puzzle and you take a picture, you put it into put it on cardboard, and then you take this cutter and you cut jigsaw pieces out of it. And each person is that spark, is that jigsaw puzzle.
That's right.
That's the power the individual has. And
Yeah.
yet when they come together, they're greater than the sum of the parts as well. So it's really, we're to create a world that's not independent, not a world that's dependent, but a world that interdependence that creates a boundary between um, all of us so that we may do our mission, our calling. But collectively, we're doing all that, we're going towards the same purpose. But it's just cool that, individually we have more power than we think. We say, oh, well, my vote don't count. That's what a lot of people say. Well, actually, it does. Your vote plus other people's votes. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ross, whomever.
Oftentimes looked at Rashid
I'm
and
sorry, I'm muted. You can't hear me.
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
That was a
I
great
was just
comment you made, though.
no, it's just at this point it's how shall I say? The evidence is stacking up that we're interconnected and we we individually aren't tasked with saving the world or fixing the
Yes,
world.
right.
Our job is to fix, well, my job is to fix me. If I look out and I see something that's broken, lying, cheating, murder, deception, yada, I have to fix that by not participating, being determined to be exactly the opposite of that, honest, faithful, trustworthy, honorable, whatever, kind, generous. I do my part to fix that. I haven't changed the world, but through this interconnectivity, every time I have an effect somewhere, what I've done becomes multiplied. And if they continue to do it, then it spreads, it multiplies. Of course, the negative is never going to go away. Otherwise, you couldn't have balance. But what the bigger point would be to just mitigate the extremities, the ultra violent, the ultra whatever, right? The
Mhm.
really harsh stuff. Bring it closer to center so the world is more balanced. Because what I'm trying to say is whenever there's a violation of justice, it must be met equally with justice, proportionate to keep things in balance.
Right. So,
Balance is, go ahead.
so like we have the two extremes. We can say, think in terms of positive and negative.
Hmm.
You can say, okay, you have Geburah, which we typically translate as judgment. However, Geburah really means like a separation, an isolation. Then you have love. Now, love can also have a negative side. You can love something so much that you stalk that person, or you love your child so much that you don't give your child a chance to become an individual, and so on and so forth. So those are two ends that can't change. Let them get away with whatever they want to do. That's it's kind of like the ultimate love. And then the other side says, don't let them get away with anything, even if they don't do it.
That's fear.
Fear. So now what you need to do is bring the two together, like you say, into a balance. So you create a discipline, you create compassion, you create a perfect environment for change. You create green pastures with still waters. That way, things can be transformed and changed, but using both sides, not as extremes, but as ingredients.
Sure. I mean, you have to have positive and negative, otherwise you wouldn't have electromagnetism.
You wouldn't have lights.
Wouldn't have lights.
Yeah. Awesome. So,
Yeah.
Tom, question for you. When you read the word two, shanim, what does that mean to you?
Where are we looking at now?
Oh, I'm sorry. The very first word of 2020, 2025. The two of them?
They were. It's translated there where?
The two of them were naked male, but it's the word shanim. Shin, nun, yod, mem.
Oh, both of them. Okay, I'm seeing that we have, and you can use the translation that I am seeing that it could be a deception leading us away from what the reality is really being expressed in the formula. Just saying, because it's Shin, Nun, Yod, He, and Mem final. So I'm seeing it as that, well, now we've got this thing, we've got this universal sense of the movement that is being imposed upon Nun, which is our life and our individual existence, and Yod and in our existence, to bring forth in life in general an inner and outer maturity. That final mem, that's what I'm seeing in these letters. Now it kind of runs. I have to maybe stretch the translation to fit into what's being said here, but I'm thinking that the story sometimes can shield us from the real messages that are being conveyed by the formulas in these letters. Is it meant to distract us? And I have to divorce myself from the interpretation, read the letters, just read the letters. And that is what I see
So,
in that.
so shin, I always think of pressing, something being pressed, a pressure. I mean, that's the way I see it, or a dividing taking place, a division, because like two teeth type thing. So, um, and then a nun, it's like the fish in the water,
Mm-hmm.
and and then the yod like a hand being helped. It's almost like there's a division of a seed, a division of a purpose taking place. Division. Anyway, that's I still got to delve into that more, but that's where my brain is going with that.
One thing I've noticed, and I've noticed that as I've researched in ancient Hebrew and stuff, is most grammar will not explain the difference between sheen and shin, but it all depends on the dagesh to the right of the sheen,
Right.
the left. And what I've seen in it is if it's to the left, it's a laser-like type of a movement. If it's to the right, it's more universal in its application, more broad. It spreads broadly. It just was something that I had been searching for. But I don't know.
Okay.
And that would affect the life of the fish, the noon. It,
Right.
it would affect the quality of life that comes forth in our existence, and it would lead to a development of maturity,
So
mem final.
now, in you looking at this, Tom, did you notice why it uses the word Adam and not Ish this time? But it does use Isha for the woman? Because it's Adam and Isha now. Adam and Isha. It's not Ish and Isha.
I think it's if I'm looking at it, and Isha, let's see, and his wife, Isha.
Yeah, wife obviously is a translation, but it could say and woman, Adam and woman. Actually, there's not even a vav there. It's Adam Isha. I just realized that.
It speaks to me of a full developed humanity, which consists of a potential 360-degree movement to bring into existence uh, the life that we're longing for, universal life. It um, Hey to me speaks of universal life, and it in Nun would be life condensed in individual existences, which would be the fish type of a thing. So I'm looking at it a little bit differently. Once again, I'm trying to abstract myself from the translation and from even being woman and man. And I read the letters not according to the translation, but according to what I'm reading the letters. It's confusing, but when I do this, it seems to flow so much easier. But if I try and incorporate some of the translation, it's to read me into a narrative that is really meant to cloud the reality of what's being spoken of here. And probably rightly so, because a lot of Jewish history and the powers that be could sense the dangers of that, and then create the divisions that is meant for all of mankind, not just one person or one group of
So,
people, all of people.
so we could look at this as a not a horizontal man and wife, since there's no and, but maybe we should be looking at this vertically, Adam and Isha, because the next verse is beginning in chapter 3, and that's now where the woman starts, I will say, taking on the serpent, or the serpent taking on a woman, or taking on each other. It takes place because Malkut is the feminine aspect of creation.
Yes.
So now Isha still has to go down there, do her thing. I would have to say the right thing. So she'd be given a name called Kava. Now, Kava relates to the soul level of Kaya. Kaya, it's like we say Lakayam. Lakayam means to life.
Life, yeah.
Well, in Hebrew, it really means to lives. It's plural. It's a plural word. So it's relating to Kaya, the soul, the universal soul, where we're all together connected in our perfect state. So now Kava given the name Kava is telling me, I know we're ahead, but just putting a context on this is telling me that it is the woman's intent to bring that universal soul, so to speak, through the soul down to the realm of chaos, which is what we're in the middle of, and through birthing, through propagation of not just like physical life, but also through teachings, philosophy. I'm talking about the proper philosophy, proper religions. I say that because I don't agree with any religion right now, but bring down a proper faith, I guess. Right. Through us transform, like Ross said, us transforming ourselves so that we can transform the world. And she was named Kava. So she accomplished something good to be called Kava, to be given that right to bring down that Kaya soul and reconstruct it down here in this realm. That's where my brain goes with this, with the Adam Isha. It doesn't say Adam Va Isha. It says Adam Isha. I'm almost like maybe they're two words that maybe should be thought together, but in a vertical stance.
Interesting, connected up with all of this stuff is again the letter ayin, and and the translation in the word cunning begins with it has the letter ayin within it too. So we're talking about a limited sense of vision and perception, which would greatly inhibit our sense of, as Ross would say, the inner development spreading outwardly. Mem final to me speaks of this inner and outer developmental process. It begins inside Bereshit. begins inside, the power that comes forth within, then spreads outwardly into our universe, Resh, the cosmos. Uh, and so it begins and starts with us in the sense of vision that directs the movements, no matter if it's a male or a female, it makes no difference. It is inclusive, like you're trying to say. One soul, Adam, is made up of both masculine and feminine.
Yes. And I've heard mem, the final mem, being equated to Messiah,
Oh, well, Mashiach, Vince,
Mashiach. So Mashiach is not an individual, but rather is us collective.
and it begins with the letter Mem 40 and not the final Mem. Now that is an interesting word to translate because it really is revealing to you our Creator's divine blueprint of what is we are all involved with, like you are saying, and Ross so wonderfully is stating. Uh, the state of messiahship would begin with a neutrality, 0 point, a reception of energy, and then all that follows through that in that particular word.
So when you say 0 point, what you're really saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is all potentiality.
Exactly, exactly. Yep. It is the least resistance. It is a forerunner of Dalet, which speaks
Okay.
of a divine archetype of resistance, and then it manifests
Yes.
our particular realm as Mam.
Wow. I think Ross has something to say. His mouth went.
Hmm. I didn't. I'm sorry if that got out, but no, it's where I stops and we begins.
Yes.
0 point is unity, which is, like I said, I stop, we begin.
Mm-hmm.
And the collective as becomes the Messiah.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're all, it takes the composite of all of us to be it.
That's right.
And when you were saying earlier, Dave, that the shin pressure or two dividing, I was thinking about not necessarily division, but a duality,
Mm.
similar to a battery, positive and negative. It's one unit,
Right.
but you have a dual existence, a charge, if you will.
Yes.
So it's not like it's divided, but it's a duality in a single unit.
It's exactly Aleph to Tav and Tav back to Aleph. It is expansive and contractive, energetic force of our Creator.
The
Oh,
flow of energy.
oh boy. Oh boy.
There's your double torus. Your
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
balance is in the middle, neutrality.
All right. With that stated, because we keep hitting on that, I'm thinking we should go to 3-1, and that'll be it for today because we're flowing so well here. I'm like, I can't like cut this out.